After World War I, Poland was not sitting idle and unprepared for possible attacks from Germany and the Soviet state. In the early 1920s, Poland started to form alliances and plan defenses, but Poland's only ally that shared a common border and common threats was Romania, a country whose economy was in worse shape than Poland's. The only realistic option for Poland was an alliance with France, considered the preeminent military power in Europe at the time. If hostilities erupted with Germany, the key to Poland's defense would be immediate military intervention from France. Under the post-World War I Treaty of Versailles, Germany was prohibited from forming any air force, and its army could have no more than 100,000 troops. Because of those restrictions, in 1926, Polish military leader Marshal Pilsudski considered the Soviets the most immediate threat and focused defense plans accordingly.
Joseph Pilsudski, he was perhaps Poland's greatest military leader. He may be even Poland's greatest leader per se.
But when Pilsudski died in 1935, Poland's new military chief, Edward Radziecki, realized that Poland could no longer ignore the growing threat from Germany, and he started drafting plans against a German invasion. Another reason that more resources could be focused on defense against Germany was because Poland had signed a non-aggression pact with the Soviet Union in 1932 and reinforced it again in 1938, so Poland felt a degree of security on its eastern front. Polish plans still relied heavily on the military might of France, but Poland's confidence in that new alliance was shaken in 1938 when French and British officials, especially British Prime Minister Neville Chamberlain, failed to take action when Hitler seized the Sudetenland region of Czechoslovakia. When Hitler was allowed to occupy the rest of Czechoslovakia, the Poles developed two plans for mobilizing their military: one general plan and one secret mobilization. But Polish leaders knew they would be outnumbered almost 2-1. Their intelligence estimated that in 1939, Germany could deploy in excess of 70 divisions to invade Poland, but Poland could muster only 37 divisions. If there was a lack of readiness on the part of Poland, it was largely due to the foreign policies of France and Great Britain. Political leaders of both nations lobbied incessantly for Poland to refrain from doing anything that might increase tension with Germany. Specifically, they were afraid that if Poland mobilized its armed forces, the move would provoke Hitler to invade.
Most people don't realize that initially Poland was the only country to stand alone against Hitler.
So Poland activated its secret mobilization plan, calling up reserves by sending them color-coded postcards in the mail. The Nazis had developed a top-secret device, an encryption machine dubbed Enigma, to send and decode German war messages. This machine constantly changed codes, offering an almost infinite number of possibilities. It was so advanced and so complicated, the Nazis were confident that their codes were unbreakable. But one major asset the Poles possessed in abundance was brilliant academic minds, notably in mathematics, dating all the way back to the astronomer Copernicus. In the early 1930s, Poland asked math experts to help provide military intelligence. And by 1933, a group of 3 Polish mathematicians, Marian Reshevsky, Henry Zagalski, and Jerry Ruicki, made the breakthrough that would arguably decide the outcome of the war. They invented a machine to break the Nazis' secret codes. Until recently, that monumental feat was credited to British scientists and mathematicians at the famous Bletchley Park Intelligence Center. In 1939, as war approached, the Poles made duplicates of their extraordinary code-breaking machine and gave one working machine each to France and Great Britain. Poland's alliance with France stipulated that if Poland was attacked by Germany, the French would mobilize their military and launch a full-scale attack along Germany's western border within 15 days. Plus, Britain had promised that its RAF would bomb German military targets.
If an attempt were made to change the situation by force in such a way as to threaten Polish independence, why then that would inevitably start a general conflagration in which this country would be involved.
But those interventions were offered only in the event of actual military engagements. Vast stretches of Poland's border were exposed, and Polish leaders feared the Germans might be able to seize territory unopposed, like they did in Czechoslovakia. Technically, that would not be a military engagement, so the French and British would have a way out of their commitments. To increase the odds of engagement, and therefore the hope of immediate military aid from France and Britain, Poland rushed undermanned and ill-equipped units into the field, spreading them hopelessly thin to cover as much ground as possible. Despite the Nazi military buildup along the Czechoslovakian border, as late as August 30th of 1939, both the British and French were still pleading with the Poles not to announce a full military mobilization. Finally, on August 31st, Poland did announce a general mobilization, the action that Britain and France feared might provoke Hitler to attack. So, on the eve of war, Poland had been able to mobilize just 50% of its military forces, and only about half of them were actually combat ready and in position on September 1st, when the Germans launched their invasion.